and this has led me to being stripped of nearly everything I own. In 1997, I was a successful small business owner. My biggest mistake? I walked in the doors of the Commonwealth Bank of Australia and asked for a loan to improve my commercial property. By 2008, I had assets of over $3 million and owed just $440,000. CBA income and assets documentation show this, although a second identical document appeared through an RTI to OAIC, which showed cash figures added by a third person. The CBA internal documentation supplied to me by FOSS under an RTI for the 2008 loan clearly shows that this loan should have been declined. Words written, technical decline. And the 4 key documents all show the same income and expense amounts. However, it appears certain figures have been altered to reduce the servicing capacity amount. This is when CBA commenced their intentional engineering of my default. 2010, loan internal documentation supplied to me under the same RTI by FOSS also showed technical declines and plenty of assets to sell if it all doesn't work out. The only loan application form that is available, which I was told by Patrick Lunn of Simmons Wolfhagen I would never get a copy of without the figures being removed, was eventually supplied to me by an RTO from OAIC. It shows I was committed 142% with income of only $5,000 and expenses of $8,000. Proactive, I had a buyer for the investment property, which would have cleared the problem loan, left me with a commercial property and 2 businesses to pay the remaining loan. The bank said no. The bank then took the commercial property and my businesses were removed. This left me without an income. Valuations on the commercial property when the bank wanted to loan me $300,000 was $450,000. When they wanted the rest of my loans over from another bank, they valued the property at $650,000. Prior to selling the commercial property, they had it valued at $380,000, and they finally sold my commercial property for $364,000. Not to mention that the valuer was an ex-CBA business banking manager. The commercial property was also placed with a residential real estate agent who had no commercial clients and limited advertising was done. Realistically, a sale on that property was never going to happen. 2013, I lodged a complaint with FOSS, the Financial Ombudsman Service. It took 2 years to investigate. FOSS found CBA guilty of maladministration in lending, but did not restore me to where I was previously, as they stated they would. FOSS also ordered that CBA treat me as a person in financial hardship. CBA refused, and FOSS failed to ensure that they did. Without that financial hardship assistance, and with no income, and a property that was sold for less than government valuation, I defaulted again. This was always going to be inevitable. Default listed immediately by CBA. Now the Lands Title Act in Tasmania, because I am from Tasmania, 146.2 states that I had the right to show cause in my possession matter. Instead, Associate Judge Holt ordered me to start a separate action against the bank to set aside or vary the loan contract of the mortgage. To this day, I have never had the opportunity through the Tasmanian Supreme Court to show cause, as my right has been continually stopped from doing this by the judge and the CBA's solicitors. 10th of February 2016, I attempted to put an injunction in on the properties to stop CBA from selling them, because I still haven't had my day in court. CBA solicitors concede in that court appearance that there was a likely prospect of my success in this matter if I could prove the allegations I alleged, which of course I can because I have the documentation. Associate Judge Holt then decided that he wouldn't grant the injunction because I could be compensated with money should I win my case in the future. Now that's pretty bad. No amount of money can compensate someone for the loss of their family home of 25 years. The 12th of February, CBA sold the investment property and had already initiated the possession order for my family home. This possession order was to be done on the 26th of February. The difference between the sale of the investment property and the demands in the court was just $50,000. Payment into the courts should have stopped possession of my family home. CBA said no again. 26th of February, distressed, I locked myself in my home, barricading the doors. CBA arrived with sheriff and locksmith. Police were then called, and an hour and a half later, CBA ordered a police battering ram to ram down my door. I then came out. You can actually view my eviction on YouTube, and it's called Suzy's Eviction. My daughter arrived home that day from school to find her personal belongings lined up on the footpath, her mum on the footpath, while strangers were changing the locks on our family home of 25 years, with our personal items still inside. I was forced to flee 2 hours away and take my dogs to safety, whilst having to leave my daughter in town with friends so she could attend school. We have never been reunited, and it has now been 9 months. Things will never return to the way they were. I was ordered to attend a further unnecessary trial on the 7th of March that CBA had managed to get the judge to agree to. This was to again stop my action against the bank from proceeding, and I still have not had the right to show cause in the Tasmanian Supreme Court. 7th of March 2016, I was forced to sign a deed of settlement and release by being threatened and bullied by CBA barrister Mr Jackson QC. I was, after all, the precedent case that the bank did not want me to win. My personal items have been removed from my family home, 6 containers full, and the removalist company concerned have smashed, trashed and stolen our items. These personal things can never be replaced. The initial ransom for my items by the bank was $15,000, and they wanted $440 a week for storage. I haven't collected it all, as I get really upset when I go there, and it's just too hard for me. In 7 months I have had only 2 sets of clothes, no medication, and Alex has not had access to her personal belongings. The bank has now sold my family home and is due to transfer title tomorrow. This must stop now. Figures in the deed of settlement are not correct, and I believe the judges have erred in law, and my matter has not been dealt with fairly in a court of law. This sale is wrong, and transfer of title of my home is wrong. Buyer of my home in Elfin Road, beware. You are buying a home that is subject to many legal issues. The Commonwealth Bank of Australia has acted unconscionably in my matter. All I want is for justice to prevail so my daughter and I can go home. I have put together some packs for politicians or the media to show the unconscionable conduct of CBA. Please ask if you would like one. My daughter and I will never recover from this, as I know most big bank victims won't. But we can make a difference for the future if we all stand together as one, which is what we are doing here today. Thank you everyone for taking the time to come, and for those of you that couldn't be here for medical or financial reasons, we are standing here for you guys also. So over to our MC for the afternoon.